It's your man Royster 59. I just want to shout out my boy True, the fellow Detroit legend. Just wanted to salute him and Domo and Super James for having the #1 radio show.
Welcome back to the show. My name is True.
I'm Domo.
And we are Green Room Radio. We have a very special guest in the building today. Who is that guest, Domo?
Little Chronic.
Little Chronic.
What's up, guys? How y'all doing?
All the way
Appreciate y'all having
from LA.
me.
All the way from LA.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Real quick shout out to our sponsors, Fuego and Cocaine. What is
This shit is fire.
that? Fuego, that shit is fire. And then I see Little Chronic, you have some
I
King
got some
Palm.
King Palm. Shout out to the sponsor, King Palm partner. Appreciate them for everything they do. They always make sure I'm laced, man, with my weed.
Yeah, well, that's
I
what.
love smoking those.
So
definitely.
being an independent artist, is it hard to get somebody to jump on board with you?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like at first, when you're coming up, it's all about building a brand, and then obviously the following too, and having those sponsorships line up with what they're doing along with what you're doing. And I feel like everything I'm doing in the cannabis industry is just lines up with what King Palm's doing, and we're going to do something special with branding and kind of promotions. And I feel like this partnership is going to be really big. So I feel like that is just big in general, and a hard thing to do in the industry is to break through and be able to build those relationships with companies for sure.
Well, you somehow broke into our network. You are definitely the first unsigned artist that we've had
Absolutely appreciate
on
you.
our show. So I just want to tell people that it is possible. Obviously, you did your homework, and you're chasing me
Absolutely.
around on the internet.
I didn't quit. Don't quit, guys.
So
What's the origin of Little Chronic?
The origin, I feel like, to be honest, I just smoked a lot of weed.
Oh,
I feel
okay.
like, yeah,
okay.
it was,
All right.
it was lining up.
so I know you're younger, but what age did you start smoking weed at?
I think I was about 16 or 17. I played sports in high school. So, I mean, just doing that a lot, you don't really get time to really smoke weed when you're doing school and all that. So I didn't smoke probably until like senior year. And when I got into it, I feel like it was it. I found what I loved. I found, what I wanted to connect with, and that journey. I mean, just
So would you say, I have a son, and he kind of went the weed route, and I kind of feel like it made him turn left. Does weed help you? I mean, do you feel like it?
Oh yeah.
Are you a functioning weed smoker? I guess you
Yeah,
would
I feel like it's hard too, because most stoners, to be productive, you have to kind of, prioritize how you're smoking. A lot of people I know would just smoke and kind of, even from my old city, just sit around and smoke, and that's kind of one of the things that I wanted to stay away from. And I kind of always linked with productive people that kind of smoke weed. I was kind of lucky. The people that I was introduced to with weed were usually in the studio. They were moving around. They were networking, and it was more or less on the way doing something. It wasn't like we're doing weed. It was like, let's smoke on the way to go do what we're doing.
Do you feel that you had I always wonder, because when I do smoke weed, which isn't very often, but when I do, I get stuck. Like, I'm like, how the fuck do people go work out? Like, I get that stuck. Is that just a beginning phase? Like, does everybody go through that, and then you kind of like transition once you get your tolerance? Now you can get out and about, and
I feel like
because I can't move anywhere when I smoke. I'm like stuck.
it's probably give or take. I feel like some people can really have a higher tolerance, and some people it's like one hit and they're like, all right, it's just not for me. I feel like it really is. It's give or take too. But with me, I just can't. I smoke so much. I feel like it really helps me hyper focus and get my music done and prioritize what I have to do, and kind of, obviously being a music artist, you're trying to do, especially independently, branding, your social media, your music, your studio time, your promotion, everything in between. So being able to smoke kind of helps me balance everything and prioritize what I need to get done, for sure.
So would you say it makes you a better artist?
Oh, for sure. It makes me take my time.
In my day, even outside of weed, it was always, people always alleged, that a lot of the big artists were doing like Molly and whatnot, and and obviously I understand what that means. I mean, I've obviously been on a Molly, and kind of takes you out of that zone and gets you thinking about some shit that you might not normally think about,
I feel you.
which in turn turns into good music sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of artists, that I know too, experiment too like that, to be able to tap into a different sound too. I know like Lil Yachty, Kid Cudi, some bigger artists too that have you know what I mean, dabbled in stuff like that, like psychedelics, to be able to
That's what I was gonna say. Like even acid, shrooms.
tap into a different sound, you know what I mean, to be able to give their fans something. And that's what I feel like I'm trying to do this year too. I mean, starting off in music, I mean, I've only been doing this for 2.5 years, so that's not long to be doing.
Yeah. So you said from the start, you said you were in the military. What branch were you in?
I was in the Army.
Hey, so Domo, what do they say? They say the armies are the
What?
sissies to the Marines, or what is it?
I don't know about
say
that.
I'm a military brat, so
Yeah.
my parents are in the Air Force.
Okay, I like that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I like that.
Actually, my dad was
But,
in the Air Force.
Yeah, it's
It's tough.
yeah, it's no joke.
It's tough.
I feel like it helped me grow up.
You
Like,
put in
Yeah.
4 years.
yeah, after I got out too, I was like, you know, do I really want to go back in and sign again, or do I want to kind of go to college? And I ended up going to Coastal Carolina down there.
So did you use like grants and stuff?
No,
that
I
they-
haven't used anything, my VA loan, nothing yet. So
Wow.
that's kind of on the back burner, you know what I mean, to kind of after the music game.
Do you think you could use that VA? Would it cover like any type of music school? You think?
I'm not sure. That's something I could definitely, I never looked into the music.
Yeah,
either.
I never thought about that until just now.
I never either, yeah.
I mean,
Don't-
Jimi Hendrix did play music when he was in the military. I don't
And
know.
people forget,
I don't
like
know if
Elvis
he
went to
can
the
go-
Army in
yeah.
the middle of when he was, you know what I mean, at his height too. A lot
Yeah.
of people,
So did you come from where'd you come from?
Boston. So I grew up in a town like 40 minutes outside called Marlboro, and I grew up there from high school till I kind of left for the military about like right after high school.
So did you do the military to get you like in line? Were you?
It was
kinda
more, I feel like, because I didn't kind of know what to do, and growing up just where I was, like my family wasn't really well off, so I knew I kind of had to go get a scholarship, or I was going to go into the military to be able to be successful and try to figure something out. So doing that, I was like, all right, let me go in here. It's probably going to be able to pay for school and take care of some stuff, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do at the moment, so I felt like that was probably my best option at the time.
Yeah.
So I went in, I did my time, which was pretty dope. I was a 31 Bravo military police officer. So, I mean, just a different kind of, you go that
Did
way.
you ever bust anybody for smoking weed?
Nah. That's one thing.
Thank
yeah.
you for
'cause
your service.
appreciate you.
Yeah. So you actually enjoyed the military.
I
That's
didn't. I
good to
think I
hear.
learned lessons, that helped me more in life. Not having that kind of sort of say like structure growing up, they kind of helped me hyper focus on what I needed to get done as a man and what was like my priorities, and then when you can have fun and kind of have that time off.
Was music like
Music was
a-
never even I never, to be honest, I never thought about music until after I went to a year of college. So I did my time there. I went to honestly like a half a year at Coastal Carolina in Myrtle Beach, and I didn't know what I wanted to do with I was taking general studies. I didn't know what I wanted to major in, and a lot of people know, like, if you don't really know what you want to do, no one really wants to pay $50,000-$60,000 a year for something, for a piece of paper that you don't really know
Nope.
what you want out of it.
Well,
Yeah,
I'll tell
Wasting your
you,
time.
Exactly.
I graduated a major university. Not one
Congratulations.
person that I graduated with is doing what they went to school to do. I tell people that
it's a different world.
the college is basically a redo of high school, but
Yeah.
now you're on your own. So it's like, can you get fucked
Can
up
you handle it
and
or
still
not?
go
Yeah.
show up for work the next day?
And most people drown. It's too much with the debt and everything.
And the debt, yeah, I was very lucky, that when I started my music, my music career, I paid it off. And,
Amazing.
now I kind of like, shit, I wish I wouldn't have paid it off because hopefully I don't know if they've wiped out people's tuition debts, but
I think they're trying to.
I hope that they do that for people because honestly, I mean, you shouldn't, you're setting yourself up for failure. You shouldn't start out your life in debt
and that's
to the,
thing
to the
too,
government or whoever's running the show there.
Did you go to like a music event and you were like, "Fuck, I want to get on this"? Or
To
you
be
meet
honest,
somebody?
I would always just kind of like freestyle, hang around my boys in the back and smoke and kick it and like freestyle in the car, kind of hanging around, like nothing crazy like friends do. But I would start to kind of on my own take it seriously and be like, okay, let me put on that beat that we were listening to and try to write to this and really put lyrics to this and something that it's cool to freestyle and rap and all that, but I feel like if you can write something with your pen and actually, put something to paper with the beat that somebody will listen to again and again and again, that is the difference to you know what I mean? And I had to learn how to do that, which was really harder to structure your music and, you know what I mean, put in ad-libs, double up and make sure, you know what I mean, all of your verses and everything align with the beat. And it really is, to me, it is an art.
Did you do your own production?
So with everything, I work right now with a couple of my boys right now in Hush Money in Los Angeles. My producer and engineer Beetle and Johnny Blaze. So they both have kind of been teaming up with me right now since we finished the album "Love Me Before I'm Gone," my debut album. So that just hit 100,000 on Spotify.
Yeah, who did your artwork? You got
That's
some really cool artwork.
Your local Off Guard. So he's actually blowing up right now. He's networking with Pharrell. He did the cover art for Juice WRLD at the time, Justin Bieber. He did the Wander to LA cover. He's networked with a lot of people, so he's a good friend of mine too. That's
So how did you
doing well.
how did you get the funds together to make it out to LA and get moving? I mean, that's a
See, this is what I want people to kind of understand. Like, nobody did anything for me to be able to put myself in this position.
yeah. Well,
which a lot of
this is
people
this is
think-
why I asked you this
Yeah.
because I moved. It's a big deal to move somewhere. I moved
100%.
to Vegas, and I'm responsible for about 8 or 9 people that I segued.
To
Meaning
come
they got to
over,
come
yep.
stay at my house for free, get a job, and then now they're doing just fine.
Exactly.
So, to hear you say you just went out there on a whim, you didn't have somebody chilling out there waiting for you to give you a place.
And that's the thing is, like, you have
That's
to
tough.
at that point too. You have to really think about, okay, can I do this? Because you know what I mean. If you don't have somebody to lean on or bet on, and you don't have that family situation or scenario, you really have to bet on yourself. And I feel like that's a big thing in life. And coming from where I do, not a lot of people do. A lot of making out of that city. A lot of people do great things and everything where I'm from, but to do, that extra, especially in the music industry and sports, it really is hard to come out of, that spot of the country. And I was really blessed to kind of realize I wanted to bet on myself. And that's, how I feel like I should be in life, because if I don't believe it, how am I going to be able to build a fan base, or the fan base or the, people listening to my music going to believe it if I don't?
So you said you've been doing it 2 years now?
2 years. I'm going on 2.5 years right now. Like the
So did you start during the pandemic?
Right, yeah, right before the pandemic, and then I came to LA, and then everything shut down like 2 months after I got here.
Oh my God.
So I was
you
like,
got to
yeah.
see the worst of the worst in
Oh,
LA.
I know, yeah. So I was really seeing, how it kind of was in that kind of situation, how LA really ended up, and people kind of, didn't
It
really
was
end up.
tough.
Yeah.
It was tough.
It's sad too, like to see how people kind of dealt with that situation.
Yeah,
It was
LA,
hard.
I used to tell people, like, LA, Vegas, I would say Vegas is everything that I'm not. I used to love LA just because, like I said, no matter who you met, what age they were, everybody's doing something. They have some kind of thing that
Absolutely.
they're working towards. Whereas here in Vegas, it's just everything is based around these casinos.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, oh, we're going to go to this nightclub, or we're going to do this, or we got to go to the casino to do this.
That's what I
and-
told my friend. Like, unless you want to drink or
Or
like,
gamble.
yeah,
Or,
like
you have to be really disciplined out here. I know that. But, the one thing I will say about Vegas, and Domo Monster here had a kid in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And, we talked about, when we were doing our stuff, she didn't want to leave LA. She's like, I'm staying in LA.
I know.
And then I was kind of like trying to pull her over here. And I was just like, man, LA is just, everything's so fucking expensive.
it really is.
It is.
And
It's
so
very
she kind of
expensive.
came here, not really wanting to come to Vegas. But then I think after, after we both kind of watched the bomb drop with this pandemic,
Absolutely.
you couldn't have been in a better spot. And it was kind of sad to see, like what was going on in LA. Like, I mean, I have a
It's
dentist
still-
I go to
it's
out there.
A lot of
still
businesses
bad.
shut down.
Rodeo Drive, when I was doing my teeth out there, that shit was like Skid Row. And I'm like, what in the hell?
Yeah, a lot of
Is
stores
going-
on Melrose and everything too.
How-
where-
All these
How did the
robberies.
shows come about? Like,
Don Rios.
What is that?
that's
you-
just about.
Oh, it's all good.
Yeah, how did the shows come about if you started during the pandemic?
So the shows kind of came about. Honestly, I networked with a show and was able to do like a light performance there. And Bow Wow, actually, when I was here, I had done the performance out here. He had saw me on the search bar. He reached out to me. I went over, recorded 2 songs with him, and then we ended up doing 1 more. So we ended up doing 3 songs, and I was kind of like, at the time, I'm like, kind of in shock and awe, like somebody like that, what I mean, reaching out to me. First time I'm
Yeah.
in LA, almost
Yeah.
like right away, I was like feeling blessed. I'm like, holy cow, like this is ridiculous. And then I'm like, okay, like what did you kind of want from me out of this? And he was just saying, I want to be able to do a song with you just to say I did when you're, well off and you blow up. And I was kind of taken back by that, because you understand too, in this industry, a lot of artists won't do stuff without getting something in return.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Especially
no.
bigger ones who are already
Exactly.
established.
Did you say Bow Wow was living here in Vegas or
Yeah, he had a residency.
residency?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen him. I haven't seen Bow Wow in a minute, but
Yeah, he was on the Millennium Tour this past
Yeah.
couple
yeah,
months.
yeah. Man, those guys keep getting back together, breaking up, getting back together.
I feel like that's
Been
a
online.
big thing that I was trying to do too with my music, doing features with like Gata and Bow Wow, like setting myself up too to be able to network with people that aren't just doing music but are doing television and movies too, that are setting themselves up 10, 20 years from now. And a lot of artists will just look, okay, what can I do 2 to 3 years down the road, rather than, okay, where am I going to be 20 years in the game if I really want to be here and make an impact and really, be around. And I feel like besides, changing your music and being multi-versatile and
Well,
changing
one
music,
thing I noticed from your music, and I don't know how much Domo's researched your music, but one thing I noticed is, you don't just rap, you actually sing too.
yeah.
So you can kind of sing and rap, which is kind of like a double threat. A lot of rappers can't really sing.
Crossover, and I feel like
You
that's
know.
a little bit of just trying something new. And I feel like that's what we were kind of talking about a little bit earlier with like Lil Yachty and Kid Cudi being able to branch out in something you're
What's
not
up with
usually
what's
doing.
up with Kid Cudi? Where'd
I
that
don't
guy
know.
go?
He was in a wedding dress, holding hands with some guy. I think he was a designer. I don't know, but
You put out
It
an
looks
album
very
like
sad.
Man
I
on
used
the
to
Moon. You can do
I used
whatever
to
you
love,
want.
yeah, I used to love Kid Cudi,
selling
man.
his soul.
Where was
but
where was Kid Cudi from? Was he Ohio, Michigan? Was he Michigan?
Chicago,
Chicago.
Chi-Town.
Okay,
He
my
was under
bad.
Kanye West.
But
Kanye
shout
West brought him
out to
up.
Kid Cudi, man. He's one of my
Yeah.
favorite artists.
For real.
Yes.
Back then. How was it working with Bow Wow? Was he a nice guy?
It was definitely more in shock because it was a learning experience for me too, because we did our first song that was probably the most streams I've gotten on Spotify at the time too, as an upcoming artist. We had passed like 500,000 streams on our single Punk Star. So once we did that, he was like, all right, let's do another one. And then that one got like 420,000. Then we were like, all right, let's do another one. So we ended up kind of keep honestly going because we were successful with how we were doing on Spotify and being able to be successful with the songs. And
Does Spotify pay you after X amount of streams?
yeah, Spotify probably pays the most in my opinion out of any platform
I've
I've
heard
seen.
that. I
So,
keep
so
hearing
much. Yeah, like
Better than iTunes.
oh yeah, so much
Yeah.
more than any
Apple.
platform. And that's
Yeah.
not hating any other platform, but
Even on-
whoever pays
even
the
YouTube?
most is- that's one thing is they're pretty close too. I
Pretty
feel like
close, yeah.
YouTube, when you're like streaming and stuff like that more, I feel like you're bringing in more, but just uploading. I
No,
don't
I've
think
been
it's
hearing
much.
the whole Spotify thing. I've heard that from multiple people, and like I said, it's not in my era, so I'm not used to.
Yeah,
these
it's the
different.
new. I definitely. A lot of people started on feel like SoundCloud, but I kind of came in right at the
SoundCloud.
end of SoundCloud, where Spotify kind of was the new wave, and then Tidal came out with Jay-Z, and kind of a lot of more platforms started to drop, and I kind of navigated right towards pushing my Spotify the most. That seemed to be the most revenue for me as an artist, and as an independent artist, that's what you go for.
Have you did Little Bow Wow? Did he lead you to any other artists?
No, honestly, being in Los Angeles, I was able to network with Gata, good friend of mine too. We did the song Primetime together, so he's on the hit show Dave on FX. Good friends with.
Are you familiar with
Lil
Gata?
Dicky.
No, no.
Yeah, Gata.
Yeah, I love Little Dicky. He's
that
Oh,
guy.
I like Little Dicky. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never
so
heard of the Gata.
Yeah, Gata's he's on the show too, and he's definitely an awesome rapper.
Yeah.
Definitely
I tell
music
people when
video.
I don't hear people, I don't watch TV or do anything.
Hey
So
man, but that's the thing is like
I
being-
understand there's a lot of big people popping right now that I don't know about.
That's exactly too, and being able to kind of network with him because I saw he was kind of dabbling too in the television and the movie side too, and just a cool dude. He came to my crib and we chopped it up. We talked about a beat. We found the beat. It was kind of cool. He ended up leaving, and I texted him and I'm like, I'm gonna have this finished by tomorrow. And he texted me back at like 1 a.m, like, that's pretty ambitious, man. Take your time. Like, we gonna get it done. Like, and I really finished the verse to Primetime and then went to the studio at 9 a.m. that same day, recorded it, sent it back to him, and he was dumbfounded. Like, he was really like in shock. Like, wow, bro, you could spit bars. Like, so he was more, surprised with doing that too.
So have you
shout out to Gata.
you write all your own stuff?
I write all my stuff. And I feel like that's a big thing too as an artist.
That is a big thing.
You
because-
can have creativity and everything in between and help and guidance and a little bit of
And
input.
it's okay to write. Nobody has to be a Jay-Z
Yeah, like
or a Lil Wayne.
I know,
Exactly.
I know Drake has had a lot of stuff wrote for him, but you know, at the
Mm-hmm.
end of the day, Drake is a phenomenal performer.
He's a,
But the difference I know when you write it, when you're writing it, what's coming out is what you're really feeling. So when you're reading somebody else's lyrics, you're not, you know, you might not be feeling what they were feeling when they wrote that.
exactly.
You know, and I think Drake pulls it off the best. I mean, you know,
He's at that starting point now
Yeah.
where I feel like he can't really delve and talk about his feelings because it's not relatable anymore. Because he's at that peak now where it's he's not going to talk about being broke
gonna
and going
steal
through the
your bitch.
struggle. Because
He gonna steal your bitch.
he's going to talk about the millions of dollars and everything in between, which is
Yeah.
dope. But like a lot of people relate to somebody that they can relate to right now that's in the same kind of predicament or struggle or going through that shit and going through life. And that's, you know, a big thing on how you navigate it and build that following too. And I was really adamant about, you know, obviously you can see like my hair, my tattoos.
I was going to ask you, is that
I
your
like it.
is that your real hair color?
This is, you know what, I've had it for a while, so it feels like it now. But
It's
nah,
like your brand.
I,
is,
yeah,
yeah.
I always say that
Red-
because
red's
cause
Red's
I've-
yours,
Yeah,
right?
there,
yeah,
there are
yeah.
people out there that will sometimes think that that's Domo's real hair color.
Yeah.
I like it.
And
Yeah,
so-
no, like
I'm,
it could be.
Just,
Yeah,
just
you don't
like a
know.
rabbit baby.
So what was the blue? What was
Yeah.
the inspired blue? You just
It's actually funny. I have a picture too when I was really, really little, and I would get my hair cut and get it spiked in the front and get like blue when I was really little, going to like snippets or something like barbershop.
Yeah.
So I always like to color my hair and stuff like that. But like obviously one of my biggest idols growing up basketball was Dennis Rodman.
Oh,
so if you know who that is,
yeah.
I'm from
you can
Detroit,
kinda-
of course.
Yeah, like
I knew the normal Dennis Rodman before he was.
Oh, that
doing all the
Dennis Rodman.
antics.
Yeah, that's normal. Yeah,
Yeah.
Like, what he Dennis?
No, when he played for the Detroit, he was just.
Oh
a
yeah, when he
hard-working
was
player.
just yeah.
He wasn't the
before
dye
he went
your
to
hair.
Chicago. Before,
Oh,
no, he
yeah.
went to the Spurs.
Yeah, I would say he was probably one of the first ones that got real like crazy with the hair.
He just was really like beat to his own drum.
Animated and-
Yeah, like
yeah.
he was like, you can like me or you don't. Like
but he
I'm
was,
doing my
he
own
was
thing. Yeah.
he was an amazing athlete too.
And that's the thing. He backed it up with being able to match that.
But I'm still trying to.
a
to
wedding
think.
dress with
Still
him
trying
and
to.
Carmen Electra.
Yeah, I'm still trying to think about how in the middle of the playoffs he said he needed a vacation and then they let him go and then Carmen Electra was like Michael Jordan was knocking at my door. I'm like, can you imagine Michael Jordan coming and being like, yo,
He skipped out in the NBA Finals to do WWE with Hulk Hogan.
Oh God.
But the crazy thing is like they would let him leave. He'd go to Vegas, stay up all night, and then come back and have like the highest rebounds he's ever had.
You
Like,
gotta, you gotta respect that he was
The hustle, yeah, like to
living
be able
his
to,
fucking best life.
and
Yeah,
he
he-
didn't quit. Like
he killed it. I mean, he was part of the Pistons back. My dad was working for the Pistons, and so me and my brother were actually the ball boys. So like when they would
Oh,
fall down,
wow.
you go out there and
yeah.
wipe the floor. But
That's
Dennis
Save
Rodman-
The Last Dance was amazing.
yeah,
too.
like Dennis
That was
Rodman
good, yeah.
was just a very normal, everyday player, but I mean a grinder. I mean he was still that good, but he won 3 championships with the Pistons.
I
you
feel
know,
like too
before
he
he
was
even-
able to mask kind of who
and
he
he's
really was.
homies with Kim Jong Un.
Oh
You
yeah,
remember?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I
Like, who
forgot
does
all
that?
about
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely crazy that he went over there and was trying to bridge the gap.
But just to, you know what I mean, like just to be outgoing, like just to be my own,
Expressive.
like way. Because I always realized too, like doing music, nobody's gonna want to really listen to somebody look just like them.
Right.
Like I just like if somebody, look like why would you like you want to look at and idolize people, in my opinion, that have all that extra stuff, the hair, the tattoo, everything. That's just how I feel in general. Like a lot of people can like it or they don't. It's perspective, and in my opinion, like it just adds like, you know what I mean?
I feel like it's
To
what's
the
what's
image.
going on right now.
Well, definitely when you
It's the new-
walk in a room, people are gonna.
And that's the
Look
thing I
at
like.
you.
Yeah, like that attention. I
Yeah.
feel like it's just
No, and
more-
you seem. I mean, so knowing where you're from, you seem to have good style. So LA definitely.
they helped me.
They helped you with the style.
Boston raised me, but LA made me. So there's a difference. Yeah.
Yeah. So where in LA do you live?
I'm over by like Woodland Hills area. I was over in like Malibu for a bit, but I'm over like kind of near the valley now. It's not
The
bad.
valley. Yeah, the porn stars.
Yeah, that's the valley right there. Yeah, that's the zone.
Is that where they are? They're out in the Woodland Hills.
They in the
Most
valley.
of them live in Woodland Hills, and then you go to Chatsworth.
Yeah,
For the
I lived in that
studios.
NoHo Arts District. I loved it there.
Oh, it's nice to know. Yeah.
You know, that was a cool little spot. So what? who's your biggest influence in music? That
I'd say probably one of my biggest is probably like J. Cole or probably
good one.
Love J. Cole.
yeah, like I would listen to him. I mean, since like the warm up, Truly Yours, he dropped
The last album was
Forest Hill
good.
Drive. Yeah, like just how he progressed. That's like what I want to eventually get my pen game like, and that's like my Mount Rushmore for me is like he's up there for me, and being able to write rhymes where people are thinking about the line that when you're already 2 lines ahead and they're thinking about the one you said too, like, and they have to rewind and really listen to that back because, you know, the pun or whatever you just said was just stuck to them so much that they really had to like figure out what you was talking about. And I feel like just the way he talks about his stories and his life, and that's the big way of just expressing yourself as an artist. And he paints a picture and it's just different. I feel like that was a big thing. And when I listened to his music, I never was able to close my eyes in music and see what somebody was talking about. And that was the first time, in my opinion. You probably felt the same thing with like Biggie or Pac too.
yeah, I was Tupac was my basically as my favorite artist of all time.
Absolutely.
And you know, I tell people just from Detroit and Eminem, I didn't switch over to him. You know,
You always were a fan, yeah.
No, I didn't switch over to him. I truly feel like I actually have it tattooed on my back that Tupac, and you know, I saw a Tupac Biggie Rolling Stone cover, and so I basically did it. But I did Tupac and Eminem, and I mean, nobody lyrically I feel can touch Eminem. But again, when you know, there's a big difference between him and Tupac, and like I said, Tupac was the first rapper that I was glued to. And I was just like, damn. And, you know, and it's, and it's not that I wasn't a fan of Biggie either. I think he was phenomenal. But, you know, when I look at how, you know, it seemed like these were like full grown men. And then, you know, you go back and you see these guys were killed at 23 years old. I'm like, these were fucking babies. Like,
And
what
they're
would have
rapping
happened
about,
10 years down the road? And then I always think to myself, you know, with Tupac, would he have jibed with Eminem? You know, would Eminem jibed with Biggie? Like, who would have branched? You know, who would have branched? You know, a lot of things wouldn't have happened.
That's another artist too, like Lil Peep, like was
Yeah.
another
Oh,
big
yeah.
artist that was gonna be bigger than anybody really knew at the time. But
Yeah,
he
she
was-
actually-
His wave was just like out of nowhere, and
Well, that's
then they were doing the parties in downtown LA, like near Skid
oh,
Row,
and yeah,
and,
like the shows, like he'd pack like
Oh, she
and then he went
showed
abroad
me.
and he was doing fashion shows
Yeah.
and like
Yeah,
walking.
she
on,
showed me his documentary, and I was like, you know, again, I didn't know who that was, but I'm like, man, this dude was fucking
somebody that
talented.
was like he was ahead of.
He dyed his hair too, right?
Yeah,
Same-
he's
same-
had
pink.
it for
Yeah.
a long time. Yeah, like dyed like pink and a whole bunch of different colors for
You
sure.
know, that documentary was great, and I liked, you know, how he was in touch with his grandparents, and
Yeah,
you know, that was a good story. And like I said, I mean, it's you just wonder what.
like emo rap, kind of.
yeah.
Yeah.
He was able to kind of tap into his own little
Yeah.
genre that kind of opened it up for like XXX and
Yeah.
everybody
Yeah.
to kind of make like Ski Mask and a whole bunch of that whole genre now. It's for, you know what I mean, a lot of those, you know, quote unquote SoundCloud, a lot of mainstream people
Yeah.
will call those kind of rappers, and people can say whatever, but their music was based off of, you know what I mean, stuff that he did too, for sure.
Well, even the Tekashi 6ix9ine, and you know, we were speaking about it before. I told Domo when I was first approached about working with him, and I asked her, I was like, "Who the hell's Tekashi 6ix9ine?" And, you know, and she showed me, and I like listened to him, but you know, again, it's like what I had to go back to is like, you know, I didn't get it. I'm like, how's this dude got 9, 10 number one hits? Like, this is insane. You know, however, you know, he was very talented, you know, but I'm like, like, I understand all the stuff that went on with him, but I'm just like, where is he now?
I'm still confused about that gym thing. If that was like a setup, and then he like promoted some, Latin track.
Well,
So I'm like, was that marketing?
I heard he was gonna go into the rapping and in Spanish, whatever. And I think that I think he would have been really good at that. But again, I'm like, you know, I often wondered to myself, I just wasn't into his music. But it, you know, again, you can't come out on a case like he did and be rapping that kind of hardcore gangster shit.
To be
when-
honest, I think he's a fraud.
Yeah.
well, it's
I'm just gonna say
we
that.
call them manufactured superstars.
Yeah, he's
like,
an
you know,
industry plant.
I see what he looked like prior. You know,
He's
when
not gonna
he-
go out and act like that in public because you see what happens.
Yeah.
When a grown ass man, meets somebody like that, and it's not like that's what a big thing is. Like a lot of these rappers think that like they can rap and talk about all this, and then like
Yeah.
like
But-
I don't
but then
fuck with the
feel
rap
it's,
shit.
it's
Yeah.
sad that's how he has to promote his his
But-
brand and his music, and it's like
You
like
can be
that's-
the villain in music and accept that role, but when you fucking rat on people and do what I don't give a fuck. Like Gunna and him, they're dead. Like in the rap game, they're dead.
Yeah.
Like no one gives a shit about them. No one
So
cares.
did he
They're
get
dead.
again? I
Gunna's out. Little Young Thug
is Young Thug
is
still in
it's a circus show.
Is he
That
still-
whole
Free Thug.
YSL.
Free Thug.
Is
Yeah.
he still in trouble?
Yeah,
Thug?
he's still.
He's in trouble, and he's like, sometimes he's there. I think like he got stuck. Like somebody gave him a perk, and then even like while he was in the court case, like the trial's still going. It's
Yeah, he
it's
had his
a
lawyer
lot.
in the courtroom the other day tell the judge that what he was
Oh
saying
yeah,
was cap.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, like
Dude, some people, man, I'm telling you, they can't. If they are the way they are. I keep thinking back to that Tupac when he went into court and was like, "Yo."
you think Tupac would have done that? He would have been like, fuck you, put me in jail. Like,
Well,
he
no,
would've been
like,
"I'll do
remember
the
that?
time."
I forget exactly what he said, but he went in there and he's like, "Yo, I don't even know why we're wasting each other's time. Just put me in there."
Yeah, he's like, regardless,
Well,
you ain't
he
even looking
said-
at me the whole time.
Yeah, you ain't
He
even making eye
said
contact with me. I'm
the
like,
only
whoa.
person that can judge me is God, and he's like, it doesn't
That was
matter if
deep.
I stay here. You are going to paint me to be this bad character, so you might as well just put me in jail. There's
Yeah.
no point. The woman was, she had a mission, but she was set up. And
And it just
was,
don't make any sense with how like he was in his character, like
Yeah.
like
Well, that's what I was gonna tell you.
Jada and stuff like
Yeah.
the people he was and like how many girls like really like just wanted him. Like would he really like is that his
No,
character?
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like so that was a setup. That was
It
just
was.
a girl trying to get a bag and she did and good
Yeah.
for her. But we lost out on some
So
time for
I
good
tell
music.
people I don't know if this has happened to you, but like with Tekashi 6ix9ine, the thing that when you start making money like that, the rap game. I mean, you're surrounded by gangsters. I mean, we had gangsters in Detroit, and you had the good thing is we kind of navigated through them. Nothing like Bloods and Crips, but again, these people prey on people like you guys because, like I
Yeah.
said, you come up.
They want to
They're
hitch
down.
their wagon.
They're
to the
down
star,
with you.
yeah.
They'll actually like pay your shit. But then when and I believe that Tekashi just, he got in and they just extorted him to the fullest, and he got in too deep. He was.
Yeah, you can't be on the block holding up red
No.
bandanas, saying shit, and then
No.
then it's just not how that goes. Like it's a
Yeah.
lifestyle that like you can't fake that shit. You either with it or you're not, and you'll get called out for it. And like that's the thing is. In the music industry, especially in the rap game too, you
Yeah.
get called out so fast if you're bullshitting, if you're not really trying to do, or if you're just running your mouth and doing like what he does.
Well, I said it when people like if you write a track and you're talking about, coming from the slums and this and shooting and this and that.
Yeah.
I know if you're telling the truth. I mean, you
Yeah.
can like even listening to a Tupac, you can feel it. So it's that
100%.
isn't something you can fake. You can't. So like sometimes when I hear Drake sing some of these little more hardcore,
Oh yeah.
I'm like, this ain't a hardcore dude. This is a nice guy
And
who
that's
played
what
on
you
a
got-
TV show,
yeah.
and I'm like, but he's
Jimmy.
still getting the point
Jimmy
across.
from Degrassi.
Yeah,
I watched.
What was
I
his
watched,
name when he was a wheelchair?
Jimmy. I watched Degrassi.
Oh, Hugh, I wanted to bring this up real quick. This kind of shocked me. This is for Domo Monster, but that article that I had on the Fugees guy, Praz.
Yep, I saw that.
It says the Fugees rapper. I sent it to you. You see this right here? What in the fuck is that? Remember we were just discussing that. So me and Domo went to Lovers and Friends last year,
Yeah.
and I had never seen Lauryn Hill perform, and the big thing was like she always misses.
Yeah.
So there was this little shooting incident, all this shit, and then it was funny. I looked at her and I'm like, oh, they're doing that because she ain't gonna show up again.
Oh,
But then she had a girl DJ like, yo, don't leave, and I'm glad we didn't. And we walked over there, and so they were gonna come out in 2020 on like a reunion. So she had Wyclef with her, and I mean it was my first time ever seeing Lauryn Hill, and I'm telling you right now, Lauryn Hill, who's the other woman?
Erykah Badu.
Erykah Badu.
Yeah.
Those are probably two of the dopest. I mean, I might even put them right in there with Eminem and Tupac. Two of the dopest. Yeah, I mean, they're like musicians.
But
like
that's 90s rap. That was a time where the music was the music. There was no
and he was the only guy
social
that
media hype. There was
he didn't
no,
show up. And remember we were talking about that. Everybody was like, "Where's Praz?"
But he was gone. Actually, they thought that he was dead.
Yeah,
He passed away, so it's surprising, but
you know,
not surprising.
yeah. So it's again what people don't understand, and you know, I say it all the time. You know, the whole thing when people talk about hip hop police, there sure is. You know, they'll put you in there as a bodyguard, they'll put you in as a manager. I mean, I don't really think that it'd be really hard to put you in as a rapper, but who knows how that all came about. But that was kind of surprising for me to see.
Yeah, that's crazy.
What else, Domo? What did we? What about the? Can you bring up that girl, Hugh? The OnlyFans girl.
Which one? The one that just passed
The
away
one
that looked like Kim
the
Kardashian?
the Kim K one.
That is sad.
You know, again, like, you know, it says what, you know, died after a medical procedure that took a turn for the worse. Now, again, living here in Las Vegas, and I'm sure Los Angeles is the same way. It's like,
I don't know where she was from.
come on, women.
But this is the
You know,
thing,
like,
and I don't want to blame like the Kardashians. I mean, you can't blame them. But now all the girls are lining up to get their butt stuck out, and they got these
That's the worst.
procedures. But then they're also, you know, they're going to Dominican Republic or they're going overseas, Turkey, and they're having and they're having botched. Like, I mean, if you're gonna get your surgery, get an American board certified surgeon, but it is kind of, you know, it's a 50-50 chance.
Is Little Chronic a fake butt guy?
I like real ass.
Okay. Hey, well, I'm saying, man, I've watched these phases transpire.
But the BBL,
butt phase, I just no.
The butt phase
No,
is like
no,
over,
no.
but the BBL is like one of the most dangerous procedures.
That's the butt thing. The butt.
Yeah, it's like a
Yeah.
50-50 that you can have
You
some
actually
complications.
you actually know a really good doctor, right? That does it out of LA.
Yes, Sajal, and
Yeah.
he's been on like a lot of TV shows. I like know him personally, so I don't know if I would ever let him like touch my butt, but he did write like a book and stuff.
Well,
so,
man, who's the girl?
I
Who's
if I was gonna get it, I mean, he is somebody who would I would get it from.
Shout out to Black China, man. I feel like ever since she got that shit removed,
I
she
don't
looks,
know,
she looks
man.
great.
This is okay.
I think she
like
looks great.
I feel such suspicion about that because it's like, okay, I don't want to be a OnlyFans girl. I'm finding God, but does she really need to be on CNN and Fox News
I
and
think it's
go
just-
on this hobo tour of like,
I don't watch TV, so I missed
I'm
all
not a
that.
hoe anymore, and it's like no more hoe life, and I'm like, I don't know.
How old is she? What range is she in?
Yeah.
She's in her late 30s, I believe. But I don't know. I don't believe it. The mom is Tokyo Tony keeps saying that she's Cap and she's lying. She's doing it she's about like she keeps saying that she thinks that she's gonna sacrifice her to the Illuminati.
So what do you think about that? You believe in that?
I kind of like
What,
Tokyo
Illuminati?
Tony.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I think you see that some people that are pretty well off throwing
Yeah.
that shit up.
There was times Domo Monster accused me of being in it, and I'm like, listen, man.
Oh, you told him?
What?
I'm playing.
I was like, listen, man. I'm like, I did a lot of drugs. I definitely was amongst people who that could have been a possibility.
For sure.
But I honestly didn't see anything. But I do look back once she informed me about all this stuff. I look back and, you know, I remember many different things that could have fell in that category. And I mean, you know, again, it's just a weird thing. You know, it's hard to believe, but you know, I believe it is out there.
I feel like that's a big thing too in the music industry is those paths and those darknesses that kind of
Yeah, even movies. You know, I think movies is just a different
Movies,
mafia.
Yeah, yeah.
porn,
everything. Just
music.
a lot of stuff in life.
Anybody who, and I think
Gaming.
anybody who can be an influencer.
I think
you know.
YouTube, they got a little.
Yeah, even
Illuminati
these
down
these
there.
big YouTube stars, I would believe that they could be targets. You know, the Jake Pauls, the Logan, the big YouTubers. You know, I feel.
I mean, who knows? Maybe Bud Light is on the Illuminati with their little controversy, but yeah, they've That's like sparking a lot of
Hugh, can you put Biden up there?
issues. And there was a trans guy, and there's nothing wrong with them, but he was saying that he was threatening women that if they were to deny him to go into the bathroom, then he wanted to shoot them, like with a gun.
That's
and he was
crazy,
saying, women should arm themselves, and I think that's fucked up. Because now it's like violence towards actual women.
Did you vote, Little Chronic?
I did not vote this election because I felt like
I don't have something that
Hillary or Biden. I was like getting shot at the front of the back of the head. I didn't like either one sucks. Like,
I think we can all agree Biden is not the candidate.
This is what I said. It's
Yeah.
not even that I believe that Trump was the candidate. I just was like, okay, you take two people side by side. One is clearly not fit. One is at least just fit. Not to say he's great, but I'm like,
Can
this
Biden
guy
even
is.
stand up?
You see this?
for
It
another
says
4
he's
years?
running.
Yeah,
another,
I know.
And I'm like, that is absolutely crazy. And I'm like, where's
Kamala Harris?
Has anybody seen her? I mean, where has she been?
We need Michelle Obama, somebody different. Like,
Somebody,
I don't know who it
yeah.
is, but somebody.
Well, I'm just
right
like,
now.
the thing that I didn't know this until the pandemic, and I actually watched TV during the pandemic.
Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't even know Democrat, Republican. I'm like, we had a civil war going on, and I'm on Facebook watching high school friends like
go at it,
defriend each other.
yeah,
and shit.
over
And I'm like,
politics. Yeah,
I'm like, what is going on?
I
Like,
would see that too.
Yeah, and
I'm
I
like,
was like, to me,
Capitol. Storm the Capitol.
that's storming the. She actually met a guy out here, man, that was on house arrest, and
I
said
think he was a liar.
Yeah, he said he stormed the Capitol building, and I'm like, he had some picture he showed her, but I'm like, that didn't look real to me, And again, it's like,
that was staged.
yeah, because I'm
People
like,
can see like there's a video
Come on,
literally
man.
of like the guy with the horns on
Yeah,
the
yeah,
helmet.
yeah.
He's getting walked in by police, and they're trying to open a door, and then it doesn't open to like get into that main room, so they go like down another way. He's not arresting him or freaking out. The guy's walking right behind him the whole time. Like,
well,
so
this
like,
is what I said. I said, hey, if you think that was real, as a civilian, rush the White House and
Yeah,
watch
go
what
ahead, see what
happens.
happens.
You,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
gonna get
Let
killed
me know,
in
yeah.
that yard. You will get shot. They're not even gonna try to apprehend you. They will shoot you for sure.
100%. Yeah.
So I'm like, for them to storm a building and then people are like, oh, we weren't afraid. We were going to stick
The
it out.
television tells lies to you.
Yeah. And what happened? I don't follow news. I heard Tucker Carlson finally got fired.
Oh, he got fired, and then Don Lemon got fired on the same day.
Wow.
But then Tucker Carlson was like, I didn't get fired. I quit.
Yeah. What's up with Alex Jones? Where the hell's he at? I feel like we ain't heard from that
I
guy.
don't know. He got sued.
He got
He did
sued.
not win that settlement.
How about can you pull up Nate Diaz, Hugh? Yeah, this is actually Diaz country in here. We got the famous choke out here of Conor McGregor, and now he supposedly got this. Supposedly, this guy that he has in a chokehold, Jake Shields, a good friend of ours, he played a video, and again, this guy approached Nate. Nate does not go around trying to fight normal civilian people. That's absolutely absurd to even think that. But, what I like to tell people is, man, just understand that these guys are people too. And when you approach them that way, that is what
Like
will.
poking a shark.
Yeah, I'm like, that will happen to you.
You
They
get bit.
they are
Right.
allowed to defend themselves.
He
And,
did really look like Logan
He
Paul.
did.
So for a second, I thought it was
well, did
him.
you see Logan and Jake did a video making fun of him? Like
They staged it again.
They staged,
Oh, really?
yeah. They were like, "Oh, if you see some hood rat from Stockton that tries to approach you, like," so they did this little funny like song and dance. But shout out to Nate. He actually laid the guy out really nice. Like he laid him down. Didn't let him fall.
Just put him to sleep.
Yeah, just kind of just
So
laid
gently.
him down. But I guess the guy said he, and maybe it's because he sounds like Logan Paul. But the guy said he has a gnarly head injury. So
yeah.
again, the lawsuit's probably going to come flashing by. But
Yeah,
apparently there was a lot of fights going on, and again,
YOLO.
when you're out there and they were in, what was that?
New Orleans.
New Orleans. Like, come on, man, you don't know
Yeah,
who's
it's like
who or
Mardi
what's.
Gras, like that's like
Yeah.
Bourbon Street. Like,
Bourbon
Yeah.
Street. That's what it was.
Living here in Vegas, bro, I've seen regular tourists try to fight UFC fighters just because they're fucked up, and they didn't even know they were a UFC fighter. And I'm like,
this is like the worst place to pick a fight with somebody because everyone's from everywhere and you don't fucking know.
well,
who
and
somebody
this is
too.
MMA country. all the fighters
the
in
desert
Vegas.
is not somewhere to go and just look for trouble. Like,
Yeah, like, well, the people who did, they're in,
Vegas.
they're coming out of Lake Mead one by
that's
one.
what happens to them.
Yeah, that's what happens. I'm like, hey, at least he didn't punch him. He just kind of gave him a little choke.
He could have done way worse too.
Yeah, I was looking at a thing, and Dana White was like, "Damn," he's like, he's like, he could have killed him, like just by, I think fighters know though. They have techniques of choking people out. Because I always said,
he'll know the one that's.
I'm like,
yeah.
how come nobody's ever died of getting choked out? Because it's like, how do you know what's too much? So I think they just, as profession, they know what's enough
when
and
somebody's
what's
out?
Yeah, and I'm sure being a civilian, that guy probably went. It looked like he went out really easy and lightly.
He probably lost a bet with his boys and just said, "All right, I'll go do it." Walked up to him and just.
Yeah, so I've seen it. And then can you pull up the designer thing real quick, just so we can make sure this doesn't ever happen to Little Chronic once he
Never.
gets
I only smoke
famous.
weed, guys.
To be honest with you, I don't even
Whatever that is.
I don't follow designer. He's a rapper.
I mean, Panda.
Oh yeah, Panda.
Panda.
Was that a one hit wonder or is that?
Yeah. I mean,
That was a
he
huge-
had,
that was
I
a
think
huge
he had a
song.
few other songs, but they didn't get as popular as that one.
I mean,
But I mean,
is it okay to jack off on a plane?
he's
If
just
it's your
being an
jet, yeah, maybe,
exhibitionist,
yeah,
you know.
Not if you're flying fucking.
You just got
coach.
caught. You're not supposed to get caught.
Yeah, they didn't say.
But they said something about how he was like supposed to, bang a girl and she didn't want to bang him. So
He was probably on Spirit.
that's
Yeah, he was in the middle aisle on Spirit.
actually I saw Spirit. Somebody
Wasn't having
they
it.
were duct taping one of the wings and
Oh my god.
yeah, they were like, "Are you guys still riding Spirit?"
Hey, so I was in LA last night, and I actually flew Spirit,
That
and it was funny, man. It was delayed 3 hours, and they actually gave me. I was like, yeah, Spirit. They gave me the front big seat row to myself, and I think it's just because they knew that my particular flight got delayed
so they
3
kinda put
hours.
you right to get
So they
off
like
of
so they
immediately.
like put you in a better spot. But I was like, they had said something that one of the terminals or runways here in Vegas were shut down, and that's what was causing all the whatever. But I'm like.
Were you like, that's the least you can do?
I'm like, Spirit just sucks the spirit right out of you. It's just,
yeah,
don't
no,
know, so.
it's yeah,
yeah.
not the best airline, definitely not.
So what do you got coming up? You got any?
Yeah, so right now I just finished the first album, my debut album, Love Me Before I'm Gone. So that's on all platforms now. So I have Bow Wow, Juicy J, Fetty Wap.
How
Gator.
did you get with Juicy J?
I linked with Juicy J through Instagram, and that was right in probably the first or second month during the pandemic is when I networked with him, and that was only through social media.
So were
too,
you? So
'cause of
I
the
mean,
pandemic.
did you hit him up multiple times?
No,
So-
I DM'd him and reached out, and I feel like most artists, if you have, payment, and you're able to pay a lot of these artists and offer something, and your music's not.
Trash.
Yeah, exactly. They're willing to work with people that are on the rise, in my opinion. So I felt like.
Well, I tell people
It's the
yeah.
way you approach people too.
Yeah.
Because if I feel like too, me being an artist, I kind of know, but most people that would just ask somebody, like, it's just how you ask the artist too, and it's got to be organic, and it's got to be, you know what I mean, really organic and actually, legitimate. Otherwise, that person will just tell immediately if you're being legitimate or not. To be honest, so I feel like that was a big thing.
How was that? Did you guys actually do the song together in a space or separate?
I sent him the song, and I needed him to do the verse on it. So he was actually doing, I don't know, it was a tour, yeah, with I forget who he went on tour with, but I emailed him, and I was waiting back for probably like a month, and I wanted to drop the album in like November, but I didn't get anything back from him. Or because Fetty was locked up at the time, so I didn't get.
Did he tell you? Did he say it's coming, but he just didn't give you a?
No, I didn't. It popped up on it. So he sent an email that didn't even have a subject to it. So I had to open the email up and realize that was the verse to put on the song. So I'm like, oh, okay. Like, so it didn't come from like a specific email that was what I sent him the original song from. So I probably had it for maybe like a couple days before I honestly realized it too. But I feel like his verse was probably the longest that I felt like I wanted to hold the album off for like Juicy J, for Fetty Wap. The way I did it and the way I had the songs organized, it was worth it too. So when you're at that stardom and that level, I can't be like, where's my,
Yeah.
they're doing me a favor at the point they're at, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, I gotta be patient. You gotta pay your dues, and you know what I mean, and everything in between too.
Well, I tell people the best advice I can give up and coming artists is you have to get in that circle.
100%.
You know, I tell people a lot. You know, you think of the D12s, the OB Trices.
Mm-hmm.
Not that they're the dopest, and not that they're bad, but we've been around the world, and you meet people who could crush them.
Yep.
However, they're not friends with Eminem. A lot of these artists are bringing up people in their own camps. So I tell people, you need, to really get it, you need to somehow end up in one of those camps. Gravitate towards, the people that basically the people that you like. And, normally that's the quickest way because, these guys will streamline you. And like I said,
100%.
they do streamline a lot of bullshit.
And that's the thing when you're at that point too, like they can say anything to somebody to get the bread or to get whatever they want from somebody, like, and that's just how it'll go because they have that clout and stardom, and you just got to be careful in the music industry and really navigate it properly too. And as an independent artist, it's really hard because you really want to take chances and really, try to go above and beyond and do so, but at the same time, that can set you back 2-3 steps if you do it the wrong way. So you gotta have to, navigate the right way in this, and it really is chess, not checkers.
Is
in
your
this game.
focus to stay independent, or are you open to getting signed?
I have one deal on the table right now. I'm not really looking to sign at the moment unless it's like a lot of money.
Yeah,
honestly.
like
It
a
would
lot
have
of
to be-
artists are sticking to being independent.
If like
Let her
where I
read
come
that
from, I always
fine-
had to
fine
hustle.
print.
Yeah, like if I know how to take care of business and do my promotions and social media and my, branding and everything in between to be self-sufficient, and I do it all myself. But what is the label? Just bringing money. That's it.
Yeah, and then
Well,
they put
just
you
go-
in debt.
Hey,
and then
the label's
you're-
basically
And then I
giving
gotta
you.
pay him back.
Yeah,
They're giving you a
I'll go
loan
get-
at about
hey,
30-40%.
Every artist listening to this right now, don't sign a deal and go get a loan from a bank. Like, don't. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, I tell people, I'm like,
Yeah, you know what I
man,
mean?
who? I'm trying to think. I just went through something where somebody was like, they're like, so and so would have gave me, one of our fighter friends. I won't even say his name, but somebody invested in him, and he was like, oh, these other people would have gave me 70, and I'm like, yeah, they would have gave you 70 and took back like 200 from you.
Yeah.
So understand those are big interest loans.
And that's the thing,
And that's
too.
what I
is
believe the industry does too to people.
When you see, like, okay, this is a certain amount of money, and artists, especially now, will go, okay, well, awesome, I'm going to buy this. And they don't realize they got to pay that back. They got to pay the IRS. They have to pay taxes. They have to, and they're like, then they go broke, and you see them for 2 years, and then all of a sudden they're gone. Where are they now? So it's really, at the same time, too, money management and how you navigate this game.
Yeah, I was watching last night. I was looking at YouTube, and I saw this video, and it said, "Where did you go, Mike Jones?" And he was talking, and it was kind of crazy. He said something very interesting. He goes, "Yo, it's like this." He's like, "This is what they promised me. So here's your check." He's like, "It's like working at Walmart." He's like, "They tell you you're gonna get $20 an hour," and he goes, "You show up, you work a month, and then you figured out you only got $7 an hour." And he's like, that's kind of what happened to me.
And you're already in it. And
he said, so I said, well, I want to quit. And so, he said he just stepped out of the thing, but he just said, they basically gave him a promise and didn't even deliver a third of what it was. And, again, you don't get that. I still feel like he's a dope artist, but as soon as that money train is behind you, you got to be able to, at least, have some kind of backing. Like who does, what do you do in the meantime
Me?
to stay afloat?
To be honest, I work, I hustle, I do promotion, social media, everything in between. Like I was doing crypto and NFTs during the pandemic. Like with me, I'm never doing one thing, because if I'm able to be self-sufficient and hustle and all that, I'm able to be an independent artist and fund and push my music too. And at that point, a lot of those artists are in a dark place or in a spot where they don't have anything to fund their music, or they don't want to just put in the fucking work, because you got the same 24 hours as everybody, but they'll make an excuse and say, I need this, or I need this from a company, or you know what I mean, a label, instead of trying to figure it out themselves. Like, Russ and some independent artists like Logic have figured it out. and they're not, you know what I mean, in these 360 deals, and they own all the rights to their music, and they're doing their music in their nice mansion, and you don't see them out in the street. You only see them at their shows, and that's like what I'm trying to aspire to be like at the end. And I feel like being the independent way, that's what you want. You want to own your music. You want to be able to give it, pass it down to, you know, the next generation, whatever you want to do in life, and give it to somebody. You know,
I feel bad for Logic because he is so talented, but he does not get like his flowers, and people always talk shit on him. He you know, his image doesn't correlate
he's in his
to
own
his
lane.
sound.
Yeah, shout out Logic. No, go.
But
He's cool.
a good one.
Well, I mean, he, you know, like I said, he's, you know, he'd be put in that category as another white rapper.
Yeah.
And like I said, he's still himself.
Yeah.
He's not, there's nothing flashy about him. There's nothing, he's just talent. And, you know, again, you know, the industry probably, you know, isn't with it as much as somebody they can market, but he's dope.
Yeah, that's what the industry will try to do is warp you and change you.
Yeah.
And that's something
Are you
they
familiar
want
with
you to do.
NF?
No.
The guy named NF? There was a guy who came out, they were comparing him a lot. He came out under, it was like Christian rap, but he came out of Michigan and they were comparing him a lot to Eminem, and he definitely wasn't compared to Eminem, but his name is NF. And I mean, I'm a big fan of what he does, and I know he tours and does a lot of stuff. You know, after the show, I'll play you some of his stuff. But yeah, I mean, he kind of went a different route, but he's got some dope. You know, he's got dope raps, and he puts a lot of these church choruses type of shit behind him. Okay. And I mean, it's dope. So let's talk about these. You said you got a couple songs.
Yeah.
Let's check out. You wanna just play the debut one first?
Yeah, let's.
The second one we'll close it out with a little verse.
Play it right now.
And what is this one called?
It's called Feel Good.
Okay. Yeah, so this is the one I've been hearing on your page the most.
How you look so good in that sundress. Baby, just get undressed. All it took was one text. You looking like some good food, baby, I'm the chef. How could you do this to me? How did you get in them jeans? Heartbroken, I didn't see this coming now, baby, please. Tell me what you wanna see. I know you don't want me anymore, but just know, yeah, just know, baby, don't go. I wanna make you feel good, yeah. I wanna treat you real good, but I know you never had someone who could treat you like I could. I wanna make you feel good. That's all I really wanna do. I'm rolling up, counting money, chilling by the pool. Damn, girl, yeah, you got me in the mood.
What you think, Domo Monster?
I like it.
Yeah, so you hear the outside of the bars, you hear the singing.
Yeah.
You know, it's good.
I mean, it's nice to get that. It doesn't have to always be so hardcore.
Well, that's what
rough
I'm trying to think of like it is actually
Yeah.
like a feel good song.
You gotta be able to, in my opinion, like you can make music that you like and that you do, but at the same time, like, what are you doing this for? You're doing it to be on the radio, right? Or to be listened to and streamed. Like,
Yeah.
so you're gonna have to conform at some point and make a song that is gonna be able to be heard. Like, do you want to be, you know what I mean?
Oh, it took Eminem a long time to get over there onto the radio.
Exactly, and like have to make a song that was marketable for everybody. You can do rap music and all that.
What type of fan base would you say you have? I mean, are you?
I'd say it's probably I started off in like kind of like the punk kind of rap stuff, so I kind of had almost like that Juice WRLD, Lil Peep, MGK type fan base for a while, and then I kind of started to go to like heavier rapping, like kind of actually writing a lot more like bars, like rather than singing. And then I was like, all right, let me
How did the we'll call it, how did the urban hip hop people, how do they take you?
I mean, that's the thing is like I feel like,
I mean, obviously, if you got Juicy J doing something with you, then you're
like I feel like
accepting what you're doing.
And that's the thing is I'm so blessed, bro, to be able to work with these people at such a like short period into music.
Well, yeah, when you say 2 years, and I heard Bow Wow,
I have 30 songs, like only like 2 or 3 music, like to have this, you know what I mean, much clout and much rolling for me when I know people that have been putting out 20, 30 mixtapes, been doing music for 10, 15 years and dive bars, and like just to get one song or try to make one song. And I feel like that's the biggest thing too with not signing a deal is, do you think, you have to ask yourself as an artist, do you think you can make one song that can pay that contract or make more than a contract somebody would
Well, they
offer?
kind of like want to craft
Like a
your
Old Town Road. Yeah,
style,
like
yeah.
one song
and
that
then
can
it's
carry
like
you, like-
can't really be creative to like what you really like.
And they'll mold you to
Yeah.
be what they want you to be. But again, that's not what got you that following
And
and
you
that fan base. It was what you did to get them
Well,
to
we-
look at you.
Yeah, like Doja Cat said something like she was like, I wish I can write this type of music that I like, which is crazy because, you know, I like a lot of females and stuff, we love her music. But then it's like, wow, that's crazy. You don't even like this music. And
She thinks
and
probably her fans won't like it. Yeah,
she has a
probably.
horrible deal with whatever her guy who signed her, and he makes money off. He's not necessarily a producer, but he makes money off of her music.
Hey, we had DC Glenn from Whoop There It Is come in, and you know he said he signed that deal and that song went triple platinum. He made zero from it. The
You
deal
made
took
no money.
only money he made was touring. So imagine he was a strip club DJ at Magic City, which is very popular in Atlanta.
Yeah.
So imagine having a song that goes triple platinum, and then you come back and you're working as a DJ again. People are looking at
That's
you
humbling.
like, bro, like you're a fucking superstar, but he signed a bad deal. And I mean, you know, the thing is now is, you know, good thing for people like him that are speaking out and educating people, because like I said, some people, you know, they're so down and out that they will take anything. And then, you know, I mean, I'm even guilty of, I've signed contracts with shit, you know, not big music deals, but I've signed contracts that I haven't even read one word on it. I'm just like, oh, this is what it is. And then I'm like, so imagine somebody who's in music and they need money.
Yeah, and
And
a lot of
and
people
they
don't know
just-
what that
they have-
situation, is like to be in that. You know what I mean? And be like, okay, well, do I give up my dream and give it to somebody else, and that belongs to them now, and they own my
Yeah.
image and me, or do I bet on myself?
Well, that's what
like
we,
I did to start.
Yeah,
you know,
we had Man in here, and Man was talking about him and Nipsey being on Epic together,
Sure.
and they wanted to make them Disney rappers, and Nipsey was gone, but you know, Man was the engine, and then they kind of toggled, same manager, toggled those two back and forth, but Man was like, yo, I'm the main hit guy,
Yeah.
but in his head, he's like, Nipsey destroys me. You know, but again, it's like,
He
how are you
can't
gonna
do
make
that.
how you
Yeah,
gonna make
like-
Nipsey a Disney rapper? Like, you know, and even Man, I mean, you know, Man could have maybe gone more that way, but Man is dope. I mean, he played us a lot of his new stuff, and it was dope. What was this other song that you said you had? You said you were
Alright.
gonna debut.
yeah, so I got
Let's check that out.
Bag on
Or we-
You. So this is gonna be same thing, kind of like Feel Good, a new sound that I'm trying to tap in this year. Yeah, I'm gonna play it right now. It's gonna be premiered today, right now, on the Green Room Radio. So y'all gonna hear it first.
I feel like
More
the girls are
family.
gonna
Oh, the
gonna
girls are ready this summer.
very,
This is the one
dance,
this summer.
Strip club friendly for sure.
I feel that. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
All right, well, where can people find you at?
So y'all can find me on Instagram right now, Spotify, all platforms. On Instagram, it's going to be Lil Chronic with 4 C's, and that's going to be on my Twitter, my TikTok. Spotify, just Lil Chronic. But right now, I got Bag on You is going to drop at the beginning of next month, and then I got my next album I'm working on right now, probably going to drop it at the end of the year, called Hope You Understand. So that's going to be my second album, and I'm super excited about that. So right now, we cranking out a couple more singles, and we in album mode right now. So
I love it.
that's
All right,
big.
and how about you, Domo Monster? Where can they
You
find
can
you?
find
at?
me Domo Monster 7 on IG.
And you can find me. I actually got a new page. It's TRU.11. So that's E11. Oh, wait, did I do E11? Yeah, E11 EVEN. And then, of course, you can find both of us on Green Room Radio. And shout out again to our sponsors, Fuego and Cocaine. And, of course,
Yeah, there's going to be a content event, We TV, next week for Cinco de Mayo.
shout out to Cinco de Mayo.
Cannabis
get it.
content creators are going to be there. It's kind of
Like a
private. It's going to be
mansion
at
party?
House of X. It's going to be interesting.
House of X, is that's a mansion or?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a content house.
Content house.
It's going to be a party.
And then and you got shout out to King
Shout out
Palm,
King Palm,
for
best in the
taking
game.
care of
Yes.
these.
You're going to roll up. You got to roll up with King
I want to
Palm. That's
ring.
the only
I
way.
want to roll up one.
Oh, we got
right
a whole
now.
bunch of them. Don't worry. I
and
got you.
and shout out to Charm 702.
Charm.
Best manager in the
I
game.
see she's been following us a lot, so I'm very happy to meet you in person. And
Appreciate you.
and a shout out to Hugh. Hugh, where can they find you at?
Dude,
We don't want Hugh.
We don't.
There's a psychological right there. We don't want them, and then they want them. So, all right, thank you all. We will see you
Thank
next week.
you.
appreciate
out.
y'all, man.